what's the point of even going into an endeavor if you're not going to do your freaking best at it?
Yeah, I mean, there is a time and place where it's like you're forced into doing things that you might not enjoy doing, and it's like, oh, I just got to get through this or something, you know, like, I don't know, eating peas or something. It's like, I need to eat something green with dinner, so I just have to eat these fucking peas. And you might not enjoy it, but nonetheless, it's like, man up and eat the fucking peas, you know? Like, it is what it is. And yeah, like, whatever it is you're doing, just don't half-ass it, because people are going to remember that, and you're not going to feel good about yourself afterwards. Whereas if, you know, even if it's something that you hate doing, do it to the best of your abilities, and when you're done, you're going to feel proud of yourself.
Yeah.
And like that's one thing that I try to preach to my daughter all the time is like, I want her to be proud of herself.
Yeah.
And so it's like, do the best that you can, even if it's not the best in the world, or even if it's a shit job compared to what other people can do, you did your best.
Yeah.
And if you're proud of it, it doesn't matter what other people think. And stop caring what other people think. Oh, man. That's a frustrating thing to me. I'm so tired of, like, even when it comes to people, like, wearing a suit and tie, when, like, I get the vibe from people that they have to wear a suit and tie. It's like, don't fucking wear it then. Like, you know, like, I show up with holy jeans and, like, I don't care, because if people are going to judge me negatively, I don't want to talk to them regardless. Yeah. And so it's like, do you, and if other people don't like it, fuck them. And if it makes you happy, and if you're proud of it in the end, then good job. Yeah. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess playing devil's advocate, like, I do know that if I work on something, my name's on it, like, I do have to, like, yeah, to one extent be proud of myself, but at the same time, it's like, I also need this to be good so that I can continue having a job or something, you know? So, like...
But if you're happy with it and if you're proud of it, then chances are your client or whoever is going to be happy with it. And if they're not, then just offer to make those changes, you know? Like, it sucks. I still have issues whenever I bring a client back in and they're critiquing my work and they're like, oh, well, this sound effect just doesn't fit. It's like, man, I spent so much time on it, but... you are paying me, and, you know, I was happy with it now, but having this conversation about it is probably just going to make it better in the end, and I'll probably be more proud of it afterwards. And if I'm not, then I still remember that I did something that I really liked, even though somebody else didn't. Yeah. I was still happy with it for that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I take criticism really, like, it's hard for me.
It is, man. It never gets easier. It doesn't. Or at least it hasn't for me, man. And anxiety, too. Like, every new semester, not even just the new semester, every new class, I walk into the class and my heart's racing. I feel like I'm sweating. And I'm like, man, these kids are going to think I'm an imposter. And, like, I battle imposter syndrome all the time. And I shouldn't. Like, I know so much about audio. What it is that I do, I'm so passionate about it. Even if I wasn't teaching, I would still be trying to learn as much as I can because I enjoy it, but it's still hard to not feel that way sometimes. And like with being critiqued, it's hard. It never gets easier, but you have to understand it's for the best. Like, if another person doesn't like the work that you've done, chances are more people aren't going to like it. And so why not take their criticism and use it to your advantage to make your project better? So.
And I mean, because like my train of thought is like, well, I did this on purpose in a way that blah blah blah, like I creatively did this decision because I had to like say this in this way, and I picked this word in this song because like that's the word, you know. And someone's like, I don't like that word, and you're like, fuck you, I picked that word, you know.
It's hard, man. It is. And like, when you spend so much time and you're so emotionally invested in it, and then you hear feedback like that, but like, you just got to think of it like, that's not the only song you're ever going to write. That's not the only film you'll ever work on. That's not the only art project you'll ever do. Like, it's a learning process. And if you are that incredibly happy with it and other people don't like it, who cares? Put it out. If you're happy with it, you don't have to change it. You know, as long as they're not paying you, and if they're paying you, then you shouldn't I mean, you should care, but you shouldn't care to the point where you're not willing to fix something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're getting paid for it, that's your job. Like, you have to make them happy. And so, yeah, and if it's your personal project and people don't like it, fuck them.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Well, I mean, I think, like, it's interesting that being a creative is and accepting criticism for your creativity is that it's not just a slight on, like, your work. It's a slight on you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Because, yeah, like, hopefully if you're that concerned with it, that means that you care that much, you know, and yeah, like it is you and your name, and it's what you love doing, and if other people don't like it, it sucks, but still, it's, you know, if it makes you happy, then who cares? And if you like it, who cares? And so, yeah, just do it. Just do it. And, like, people aren't going to like it. There are so many people in the world, no matter what it is you do, no matter how good of a job you do it, somebody out there is going to hate it.
Sure.
And, okay, cool. Like, why don't you like it? Maybe next time I'll try to make something that you like or you enjoy more.
Yeah.
But, like, for this time, I like it. Maybe one other person in the world likes it, so we're going to enjoy it, and all of you other assholes don't have to.
Sure. And sometimes, like, some of the best shit is, like, the stuff that you hated at first. Like, Brand New's 4th album, Daisy. Do you listen to Brand New?
No.
The first time I listened to that, I was like, what is going on? What happened? Like, this sucks. And man, like, for the longest time, I was still just like, what even is this?
Yeah.
But after a while, I was like, this is so good.
Yeah. No, like, sometimes it just takes, like, sitting down with it multiple times, and that shit's really hard, too, because, you know, even sit down, or if you try to sit down and listen to something the first time and you don't like it, you're going to remember that first impression. Like, that's why first impressions are so important. But hopefully, you know, you're not that much of a jerk to where you just completely write it off and you never go back to it. If it's like one of your favorite bands or something, like, you should at least give it a few tries before you write it off as being total garbage.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can't say that something just sucks and it's the worst thing in the world until you've tried to listen to it, or you've tried to watch it or look at it, or whatever it is, until you've tried to do that thing multiple times.
Yeah.
Then you can make an educated decision about if it's good or not. But you can't do that off of just, like, one listen or one watching. So.
Well, I mean, it's hard enough whenever we have, like, so much stuff to consume. It's just that a lot of times I only get one listen.
Yeah. We live in a consumer society now, man. And that's another thing that I always talk about, like, man, people need to stop buying things to make themselves happy. It's not about how much shit you have in your house. Like, does that 50-inch TV, like, directly bring joy to your life, or are you just watching other people do fun things? Like, you're not doing the fun thing. Like, you're just watching other people do it. So instead, why don't you sell your TV and go on a hiking trip, or go to Europe or something like that? And, like, I'm probably so different than most people with that. Our daughter was like 8 months old or so, and we had a TV in the living room, and it got to a point where she would get home from daycare or whatever, and she'd be like, she would ask for a show, or she would, like, point to the TV or something, or acknowledge it in some way. And whenever I noticed she was doing that, I told my wife, I was like, we're getting rid of the fucking TV. Like, I don't want it in the house anymore. And we did. We sold it on Craigslist, and we got rid of it. And now, you know, when we sit down to eat dinner, it's the three of us sitting at a table eating dinner, having a conversation. We're not all glued to the TV watching other people live their lives. We're having a conversation about our lives, what made us happy that day, what made us sad that day. And, like, we talk about our emotions now. And anymore, it feels like people don't do that. People are just like, they get home, they're pissed off, they're like, oh, don't talk to me, I'm just going to watch my show. So, are you really living life anymore?
Yeah.
You know, like, we still watch TV, we still have our computers, and we still watch, like, shows and movies together and stuff like that. But it's more intimate and more personal now, because now it's like, it's more of a special occasion. It's not just the, like, ritual that happens as soon as you get home. And it's been great. Like, I really enjoy it. And other people come over to the house and they're like, you guys don't have a TV? What do you guys do with your time? We do things. So, like, what do you mean, what do we do with our time? Like, we do stuff and we have fun together. Like, we play board games if it's cold. And, like, I don't know, but we're not just glued to a TV. So it's been great for us. But other people, I understand, you might not want to do that. You might think that fucking crazy for wanting to do that so bad. But to us, and to me specifically, like, it works. Super happy without my TV. And it's kind of weird because, I work in film, and I don't even have a TV in my house anymore. But whatever. So.
Well, I mean, that's what your studio is going to be for.
Yeah,
exactly. You'll be watching the films anyways.
Yeah. And like I honestly do watch a lot of films at the studio just so that I can use like different films and genres as like reference for whatever it is I'm working on. And so it's like I found this really great way to rip stuff off of Blu-rays and DVDs to where I can still get the like surround discrete channels. So I can pump it through my system and I can actually watch like big budget films on my system and see how they sound like, hear how they sound.
Well, I mean, you're also seeing it.
I mean, I guess. And then, so like I still do watch a lot of films. I still go to the theater semi-regularly. And like I try to be involved, but I just don't want it to be, I don't want my life to be about watching other people live theirs. You know? Or other people tell their stories or something. And there are a few shows that I'm obsessed with, like, oh man, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I've watched all 11 seasons, probably like 7 or 8 times. And I love that show, and I still watch. I watched it last night, man, and it's like, there's stuff that I still enjoy. And like, if I'm sitting down to like write out a lecture or something like that, usually I'm sitting at my desk and I've got 2 monitors. One's playing a show or a movie, and the other one has my work on it. I obviously can't do that if I'm working on a film, but I mean, I still watch TV, and I'm not that crazy that I don't get on a computer or anything like that. But I just didn't want it to be the focal point of our living room, which is the focal point of our home, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want everything when we were at home about having the TV on. And I noticed that, like, we would get home from work and from daycare, and it was just, like, second nature to just turn it on just to have background noise, like, while we were cooking or something.
Sure.
And that led to my daughter sitting on the couch watching the TV. And now, when we get home and it's time to cook, we'll play some music, and we've got a record player. She's obsessed with listening to vinyl. It's the coolest thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. So like, we'll listen to music, and then we cook together now. And it's like, that's awesome. I'd much rather have those memories than the memories of me cooking and her watching TV.
Sure.
So it works for us.
Yeah. I think that it's funny because I have to like conflict with media in that I am media. This is media. But I also have to consume a certain amount to continue making it.
To stay current with it, exactly.
And so like, even like when I cook, I listen to podcasts. It's what I do all the time. It might be a bad thing, but it's gotten to the point that I don't like dead air. That
You know what's so funny about that is, like, I work with sound and with audio, and like, that's my primary source of income. And my favorite sound in the world is when we go hiking and we like stay at a cabin or we're camping, and if you're real quiet, you don't hear sounds from any other human. All you hear is Mother Nature, just like wind blowing through the trees. That's my favorite sound in the world. And really, it's the lack of sound.
Yeah.
And like, I've always thought that was so interesting about myself. Just because, like, that's my favorite sound, and I work with sounds all day, and my favorite sound is silence.
Yeah.
So, okay. But yeah, like, when you're at home, like, I don't like hearing other people. And so when I'm at home, I'm always listening to music. Sometimes I have headphones on and I'm listening to a podcast, or maybe I am watching a show at night or something like that. But that's because I don't like that sort of, I don't like hearing what other people are doing. And so it's like, it's either I want to listen to something that I'm choosing to listen to, or I don't want to hear anything.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. It's interesting that maybe I'm just noticing it now, but like, you're sort of like selflessly self-centered.
Yeah. That's a good point, man, and it's very true. It's like,
and don't take that in a bad way.
No, I don't. I don't at all, man. But yeah, like, I don't know. Life, like I said, life's about me, man. I don't have to live up to somebody else's expectations. I don't have to live a good life and hope that God will accept me into heaven or something like that. It's like, I do me, and I enjoy me, and I don't care what other people think. And, you know, I used to think about myself first. Now it's changed to where now it's my daughter, but, like, I'm a close second. Okay. My wife is definitely second and third. But, yeah, I mean, I try because I think about my impact on other people a lot. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, it's like, this is my life, and if I'm not happy in the way I am impacting other people, then what the fuck am I doing with my life?
Sure, yeah.
So, yeah, selflessly self-centered. That's great, man. It's going on my business card.
Well, because, I mean, I make a big point about caring about other people. That is a lot of the point of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like, yeah, earlier you say that, like, don't worry so much about what other people think, like, do you, but it's, like, I have to.
It's hard, man. I still think about it all the time. You know, every time I stand up in front of a class, I'm like, do I have a booger in my nose or something? You know, I'm like, I always think about shit like that, but in the end, if you're not happy with yourself, you're not going to make other people happy, so mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, you know, I gave up caring what other people thought a long time ago. And yeah, you know, like, you guys can't see in the podcast when you're listening to this, but like, my ears are gauged. I'm covered in tattoos. I've got tattoos on my hands.
I would mean to ask you about your tattoos.
Yeah, we can have a conversation about it. It's interesting. I wear holy jeans when I teach. Like, when I went to my interview at OCCC, I was wearing these jeans because they're my favorite jeans and they make me feel confident. So it's
sure.
Like, I do what I enjoy, and if other people don't like it, then I don't care. I don't want to talk to you. If you don't like me, then I'm not going to like you, and why waste our time? Life's short. Straight up.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. And it's hard. Sometimes it gets me in trouble. You know, sometimes I feel bad. Like, I'll show up to class, and, like, I don't shave ever. But, like, I'll show up, and I haven't even trimmed my beard in, like, a couple weeks, and I just look raggedy as fuck. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I know what I'm talking about, and I feel like I try really hard with my classes. Every single time that I sit down to write a lecture, it's like, I'll sit there for hours planning it, and then I go and I have the lecture, and it takes me 1 hour to get through it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, hopefully they remember one thing from that or something like that. So it's like, I try really hard to maybe not impress people, but like to leave something with them, something that they'll remember about me. But it's never about, like, my appearance or what I'm interested in or something like that.
Well, because that's just not going to affect how it's not going to affect what I get from your class.
Yeah, you know, it's not about that.
If you sit down and give a lecture about post-production, I'm not going to be like, man, his beard.
Yeah, you remember that teacher who had holy jeans and shoes that he's had for 6 years? No, like, people. I mean, some people care about that stuff, but
yeah, and they didn't get anything out of your class.
Yeah, I don't care. You got your grade. I don't want to see you anymore. More often than not, I love all of my students, and I tell everybody at the beginning of the semester, like, by the end of this class, I want to be everybody's friend. I'm going to at least give you an opportunity to build a friendship with me. Now, if you're going to show up to class late and you're going to be disruptful and disrespectful, and you're going to be an asshole, then I don't care. And, like, once this semester's over, hopefully we don't have very many more interactions together. And if something does come up and you need some help or something, you can always reach out to me. Like, I'm not going to go and hang out with you at a bar or something like that.
Sure.
If I don't like you and if you don't like me, what's the point? Yeah. Like, let's do what we have to do, get through it, and then, you know, move on. Like, hopefully you still remember something from my classes, but nonetheless, it's like, I know other instructors might disagree, but to me, it's not about, like, having a big impact on one person. It's about having some sort of impact on everybody individually. And so, like, I know I've heard of other instructors say things like, well, as long as you get through to just one student. To me, it's like, I'd rather have like small little things get through to each student that affects them personally than have one student who just gets everything and the other students don't get anything. You know,
well, because that's also just a giant waste of time and space.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not here to teach one person, even if they're the one student who's really interested in post production and everybody else is just taking it because they have to. Like, I'm not going to cater the class to that one person. It's still about everybody as a whole. And hopefully people remember, like I said, even if it's just one small thing that helps them personally, that's great. I've done my job.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's just one thing out of a 16-week semester, that I feel like a success.
Yeah. What makes ACM special?
There's just nothing like it around here. Like we have other sort of music production programs at other schools, but ACM's become sort of the like center for musicians, not just musicians, but like music creators, because we have the business department and the production department as well. And so ACM's just become like the hub of it all.
Yeah.
And, I was a student here, and when I was a student, like I said, I started the second semester the school was open, and it was painfully obvious that it was so fresh and new. It was. There were a lot of things that, looking back, like whenever I started teaching, even though the classes that I teach now were taught by my mentor, like one of my really close friends still, whenever I was offered the job to take over his classes and to start teaching here, and I got copies of his syllabi, I went through them and I was like, I'm going to teach it totally different, because I was a student, and I remember being frustrated about having to pay for some of the courses I took. And I remember being frustrated with some of the instructors, and it was just like, I'm not going to make those same mistakes. I'm going to do what I think is best for these students. And, it's kind of, I get into this, I have this thought that comes around regularly where I think, I'm teaching basically everything I know about post-production to a point where if somebody would like really paid attention and took notes and did really good work, they could take tons of work from me, tons of clients and stuff. And like, that kind of scares the shit out of me, because like I said, I am in this position where it's like nobody else is doing post sound on the level I am here in Oklahoma City. And so it's like, man, I'm teaching all of these kids as much as I can, and they're going to start taking projects away from me. But in the end, it's like, I'm getting paid to teach you guys. I'm not going to hold stuff back. I'm brutally honest with things. And I want other people to be successful. Mm-hmm. I hope it doesn't get to a point where it makes work harder for me or finding work harder for me. But if so, then good for you, Yeah. Like I'd be stoked if I saw somebody doing post sound and they were more successful than me and they were one of my students.
Yeah.
That would be fucking awesome.
Well, that would just mean that you did an awesome job.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully it wasn't them just like going to the class and like, I already know all this shit or something like that, But like, I'd be super proud about that. And so, I have that conflict all the time internally, but in the end, it's like, I try my hardest to teach all of the students here as much as I can without overwhelming them, for sure, because there's a lot. Like, there are some things that I don't teach just because it's like so advanced and I just don't get an opportunity to. But I try hard, and if it makes other people successful, that's what I hope. I hope people are successful.
Yeah.
So.
Did you ever think that you were going to be a teacher?
Actually, yeah, like, not when I was young or anything like that. I always enjoyed sharing knowledge and having conversations, and I hope you took this away from our classes together, but I always try to make class, I don't like lecturing for like 2 hours straight. I try to make it more of a conversation, and like, I tell my students, like, I'm going to ask you guys questions, and if you guys don't answer them, we're going to sit in awkward silence until you guys do. Like, I know the answer to these questions. Like, I want to make sure you guys do. Yeah. And I don't want to talk for 2 hours, so I want to have a conversation. And so I've always enjoyed talking to people. I've always enjoyed sharing what knowledge I do have. And so whenever I was a student here, and before I started working in films, I thought I was going to be an engineer in a studio recording music and this and that. And I always thought, like, man, it would be really cool to eventually teach at ACM as well. But I never in a million years thought that it would have been, like 5 years after I graduated. Because it was right after like my 5-year mark is when I got offered to teach here. And I was completely floored for it. I was terrified, absolutely terrified, but so excited. And, now still, every time that they give me a new class, it's like I freak out a little bit, and I'm like, man, I don't know, I'm going to teach this. I don't know, I'm going to fill out 16 weeks worth of content. And then it's like I get into it, and it's just like it makes me more excited about sound and like just sharing the knowledge. And I know some students aren't going to remember shit of what I told them.
Yeah.
But like I still got to tell them. I still remember that moment. And if they don't, so be it. Like, it was good for me. It makes me happy. It makes me feel good. And so I'm going to keep doing it.
Well, I mean, if there's anything that I got from, like, you teaching classes is that, like, you want us to care. And you sort of make us care, even if it's like, yeah, I have to take this class or something. It's like, rather than acknowledging, like, yeah, you know that you have to take this class, I know that I have to take this class. It's like, no, like, we're really going to get into this.
Yeah.
And
even with music and media, like I always say in that class, like, look, I don't expect you guys to remember how to vectorize hand-drawn art in Adobe Illustrator. But one day you might work with a graphic designer and you might say, hey, I drew up this logo idea. I think it's pretty cool, but it could use some work. How about you vectorize it and you work on it? And you'll at least remember some of those concepts, hopefully. It's not about like whether or not you're going to do that for the rest of your life, but just having a respect and being able to have a like educated conversation with other professionals will help.
Yeah.
But please do go on about the things you enjoyed about my class.
Well, no, it's just that like the passion is clear. Yeah. Like that I think that even though it's like you're gonna get people that just like take pictures of shit last minute. And I did that too because I just didn't have time. I'm sorry, but
that project is the worst project out of all of my classes I've ever taught. That's my least favorite one to grade because it's 10 pictures per student, and like I got to a point where I was telling students like, if there's a single picture of Bricktown, I'm going to give you a 0 for it because I know half of the students are walking to class like, oh shit, that project's due today. I'm going to take some pictures on my phone.
Yeah.
And it's so bad.
Well, more so it was more that like I was spending so much time here that I wouldn't be able to get any other pictures.
Yeah. That happens.
But like, it's clear to me that even though that people are just kind of like throwing this together, that you care about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to try at least, man, because like if it's obvious that I don't care, then no student's going to care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like I have a lot of passion about anything that I do. Anything that I do, we were talking about this earlier. To me, it's all about quality. And so like whatever it is that I'm doing, I want it to be of high quality. And so even when we were talking about Squarespace, I hate Squarespace. And hopefully you don't have Squarespace advertisements.
I don't have Squarespace ads, but my website's on Squarespace.
Yeah. I don't like their whole format and layout. Maybe it's just because I was teaching with it, but I like Wix much better.
I mean, Squarespace is like the Apple of website building.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. And so even with those projects, it's like I try not to lecture very much about Squarespace, and I kind of just leave it up to the students to do whatever. And that's the one project where I always get just like super half-assed projects because it's like I feel like it might be a little bit obvious that I don't care so much about using Squarespace, and so the students sort of take on that role as well, and they're like, oh, I just have to finish it for the grade or whatever.
Sure.
And so that became obvious to me pretty quickly that if I didn't care, students weren't going to care.
Yeah.
And like when you have to sit down and grade 40 projects of students who didn't give a shit about it, it sucks, man. It's depressing. And you're just like, the hardest project to grade in terms of not feeling just like a complete piece of shit for me is I give out a poster project in that music and media class. It's like towards the end of the semester, we've talked about digital photography techniques, we've talked about Photoshop, we've talked about Illustrator, we've talked about typography, and then I give out this poster project where it's their first project that they have to create all on their own, right? You remember.
Yeah.
And that project, it's so hard for me to grade all of them because, like I said, we've spent like 8 weeks going through all of these like fundamentals, and this is the first project where it's completely up to them to do. Not usually, but maybe like half of them just aren't good, and it just makes me feel like, did they learn anything from me? So that one's hard, and it can be very depressing grading. Yeah. But there are some that are just absolutely great.
Yeah.
So,
no, I mean, so I went to UCO for 2 years, and I was doing vocal music ed,
yeah.
And so I had the fullest intention of being a teacher. And so I know what it's like to try to teach people something and they not get it.
Yeah, it makes you feel like an asshole or something. It's really hard. It is. And not just that, like there are some things that I teach that like students understand, but they're just bad at it. And then I'm like, is it because of how I taught it? Is there a better way to do it? And like, as long as you have that sort of like self-analysis part of the process, then you're doing something right. As long as you sit down at the end of the semester or the end of the week and say like, what could I do better next time? Then you're all right. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
So.
Well, because I think there's so much of yourself going into when you teach, in the same way that whenever you create something, you're putting a part of yourself, and that like you're spreading your knowledge basically. And so whenever it doesn't come across, you're like, is my knowledge wrong? Like it's still a reflection on yourself. And that I haven't done as much teaching as I would like, because honestly I would love to teach, but it's once they get it, that's that really is the moment.
Seeing your personal students have that aha moment is great. One of my favorite things to teach is in Pro Tools 110. It's the DAW2 course here at ACM. And the very end of the book, we talk about dithering and why dithering is important and what exactly dithering does. And even most of the students up here, you ask somebody like, okay, what is dithering? How does it work? What does it do? And most people are like, I don't fucking know. Like whenever you need to downsample your audio, your final mix or whatever, you have to add dithering because that's what everybody says you have to do. And so it's like, okay, it's just something you do, but do you actually understand it? And most people don't. And I figured out a way that I can draw it on the board, and it just makes sense. It's my favorite thing to teach, because as soon as I'm done drawing it on the board and I turn around and I start to explain it, I just see everybody's eyes light up like, holy shit, that makes so much sense now. And yeah, it's such a simple concept to me, because I've been working with audio for such a long time and this and that, but just seeing that reaction from your students, there's no greater feeling.
Yeah.
And like the same thing with my daughter, like we've been potty training recently, and the first time that she actually peed on the potty and she told us that she had to go and she peed on the potty, my eyes watered because I was so happy and so proud, and like there's nothing better than that.
Yeah.
So my wife still gives me shit for my eyes watering during that moment. I was telling her about it. I was like, yeah, and like she peed on the potty and my eyes started to water. She was like, of course they did, Rob. Like, I'm such an emotional, empathetic person now. It's just ridiculous.
Well, because I think that going back to like here at ACM, I feel that a lot of stuff, and I've kind of been coming to terms with this the more that I explore the idea, but a lot of stuff that seems to happen in production is that we as students want to be told the right way of doing things.
Yeah.
And whenever it's unclear, we're so afraid to do the wrong thing, because there's just like this mountain of hierarchy of just like, here's the way that things have been done since forever, and to go against that is a crime against all of music production, and if you commit that crime, then you do not belong here. And that's like the fear in me to just be like, oh, well, I did this. And like, no, don't ever do that. Don't, like,
what's fucked up about it is there are no rules. And if they are rules, they're meant to be broken. Like, there are things that you should try to maybe stay away from, like clipping your recordings going into your interface. Like, if you clip digitally, it's going to sound like you're farting on a snare drum regardless. So it's like there are things that you want to stay away from. But if there are like certain quote-unquote rules to working with audio, try your hardest to break them in a cool, creative way. And like, again, some people aren't going to like it, but some people might. And if it makes some people happy, then cool, good for you. And if not, like, you at least learned, maybe I shouldn't do that again. So, I don't know. I don't like the idea of rules. And that's, I feel like if you know me, it's pretty obvious. I don't like rules. If somebody tells me that I can't do something, I want to do it more just to spite them. You know what I mean? And so I just don't like the idea of anybody trying to control me. That's why I want to work for myself so badly. And so I would say if there is a rule, try to break it in a cool, creative way where it doesn't turn into garbage. And if it does, like, be able to be mature enough to sort of step back and say, okay, that sucked. I'm not going to do that again. Let me try something else.
But the thing is that we can't tell. I can't tell. Like,
and when you're at a university, like, nonetheless, ACM is through a university, and so it feels like there should be a right and wrong answer. But to me, it's like my favorite projects that students turn in are the ones that they do something that I didn't even tell them to do. You know, and it's like the projects where 20 students turn in the exact same thing because it was like a step-by-step instruction. It's not fun for me. I mean, I'm sure that they're learning something, but I'm just like, man, I don't want to grade all this stuff. Like, I want to go through something where it's like original and you guys are sort of branching out and being creative on your own. So,
but like,
I encourage that.
but the fear, it comes from like just, again, this like mountain of the way things have been done. And so it's like, there are certain things that there's like a clear-cut reason as to why you don't do that. You don't clip into the converter because it does sound awful. But at the same time, I've never been shown, at least not with the clipping, because I have heard digital clipping and it does sound awful. But just there are certain things that are like, oh man, like, don't ever squash your audio or whatever with a compressor. Don't put a compressor on everything or something. And it's like, I still haven't fully wrapped my head around compression just because I haven't heard enough examples.
I mean, there are even some tracks, like, there's that whole, like, New York style of mixing drums where it's just, like, compress the fuck out of your drum bus. And, like, it can sound cool, like, what's the name of that band? Oh, of course I can't think of it. The Black Diamond Heavies. Okay, so they record all analog, and so it's a little bit different, but their sort of take on recording is they record straight to tape, and they clip the fuck out of all of their preamps, and like I'm sure their meters are just peaking red the entire time, and it's all compressed to hell, but it sounds so cool. It's just like, it's so distorted and heavy, and they're like this two-piece blues rock band where it's like this phenomenal drummer, and then he's a reverend's son who plays keyboard and he sings, but he sings in like a style of like an old Southern reverend. And so it's just like, it's insane and it sounds so cool, but like they sort of broke all rules that they could to get that sound, and it's awesome. And so it's like, try things and be creative. And like I said, if it doesn't work out, just be mature enough to trash it and start again.
But I mean, like, more often than not, I have no idea. I have no idea that, like, oh man, you want to pick the Neve preamp instead of the purple preamp, but like because this one has more of a flavor that like goes on the highs or something. And I'm like, I have no idea. I'll write it down, but I have no idea
why. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I run into that shit all the time too, where people tell me like to use a specific microphone because we're recording outside and it's 10.5 feet away and like all this stupid shit, and it's like, well, I think this microphone sounds better, so why do I have to do it this way that you think is right? Why don't we test it, and why don't we come to this conclusion ourselves? That's what's fun about working with anything creative. It's just like figuring out why things are and what's the best way to approach things.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also why I'm scared.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it does. I mean, I'm sure I still get nervous about certain things, like the last feature film I worked on. When you work in surround, there's this whole idea that your dialogue should only come out of the center channel, and it shouldn't come out of any other speakers, and nothing else should be in the center channel other than dialogue. And I mixed that entire last film just like that because that's what I was told I was supposed to do. And then I went and listened to it in a theater, and I was like, man, that dialogue sounds like shit because it's just right in the center. So I go back to my studio and I remixed it. I remixed it to where the dialogue was coming out of LCR, which is the entire front part of the theater. It's left channel, center channel, and right channel. And yeah, my center channel was much louder than the left and the right, but what it did is it just like filled out the space so much better. And then it also made it to where anywhere that you sit in the theater, you can still clearly understand what's being said. And so many people are like, no, you shouldn't do that at all. And I understand that there's a problem that arises when you do that. But if you educate yourself enough about it and you know about those problems and then you run into those problems yourself like I did, then you fix them and then you know better next time. Like I would still, the next film I work on in surround sound, I'm still going to mix dialogue LCR. I just know what to look out for now. It's just because like I said, I try to break rules, man. I'm not gonna adhere to somebody else's rules about anything. So, and if it doesn't sound good, then like I had to take a cut. Like I had to remix that part of the film, and like I didn't even tell the director about it. He had no idea about any of that. But it was just like I was just sort of testing things and just trial and error. And like I did it the way I was told to do it. I didn't like it, so I did it the way I thought I should do it, and it caused a problem. So then I had to go back and fix that problem, and then I was super happy with it. Yeah. So that's part of it, man. Part of being creative.
Yeah, but just make it sound good, I guess. I feel like that, like in the end, that's kind of what I'm trying to think of. It's just like maybe even through classes that I've been taking this semester so far, there's been like certain things that are like, hey, don't ever do this or something, and it's like, man, I've done that for a while.
Oh yeah.
But like.
I felt bad once. I was teaching a Pro Tools certification course, and I was sort of bitching about how so many like novice mixers just like set the volume fader at one spot throughout the mix, and they just leave it there. And I was like bitching really hard about it. Like, yeah, that's just like amateur shit, and like it's not professional at all. And then after class, one of the students in there, he came up to me and he's like, "Man, I had no idea I wasn't supposed to do that. That's how I've mixed everything I've ever worked on." And, he was super grateful that I explained how important automation is and how it really separates the men from the boys when you talk about mixing. But, yeah, like, I don't know, it's just weird how shit like that comes up,
Well, yeah, but, again, that expresses that fear that we're just like, shit, I've been doing things all wrong. I hope nobody here, like, you just want to step away from it, and you're like,
and what's funny is that guy specifically, like, when class started, he gave me one of the albums he had recorded, and after that conversation that night, and he came up to me after the class, and he was telling me how, like, grateful he was about hearing all that and this and that. He was like, I really don't want you to listen to that CD anymore. Man. And I'm like, no, man, like, I did, and, like, I sent him an email saying it was still cool and stuff, but it was just, just kind of funny. What usually happens in my life is I say something that I probably shouldn't, and then I figure out a way to sort of bullshit my way around it to make up for it a little bit. Like that happens in class all the time. Like I'll just say something, and then as soon as it comes out of my mouth, I'm like, fuck, shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
How am I going to like come back from that?
Yeah.
And then I just figure it out somehow. Happens all the time.
Yeah. Well, you're not on like bullshit level Trump anyways. So.
Yeah.
No, I think that what I'm scared of even now of like I have just 52 other podcasts before this. And yeah, I've done some of those mistakes that like have happened or that have been mentioned through other classes, and I'm just like, hope nobody hears that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's there, and like part of me is like, well, it sounds fine.
I mean, the only
at least to
people
me
who
it
know-
sounded
yeah,
fine.
With podcasts, it's like you're just recording like a live interview, so it doesn't sound great. As long as you can hear what's being said, who fucking cares, you know?
Yeah.
But the only people who are going to pick shit out like that are going to be people who are obsessed with sound. And like, for me, you know, when I listen to your podcast, like, there are things that I notice, and I'm like, oh, like, I would have done it differently. And like, even sitting here and recording this, like, setting up the microphone like that, knowing what it's like in post-production, at least working on a film, like, that would scare the shit out of me. If I was told that on set, somebody set up a microphone, like, just set it up for two people to have a conversation, and each person wasn't mic'd individually, and, like, there wasn't a sound mixer. No, for sure. But, like, stuff like that would just terrify me, you know? But nobody's going to really pay attention. If anybody said anything to you, hopefully it's constructive, and if it isn't, fuck them, they're assholes. And straight up. Hopefully it would be constructive. I wouldn't ever listen to something that somebody was super proud of, or watch something somebody was super proud of, and then be like, oh yeah, well you did this, and this wrong, unless they came to me and said, hey, what's your honest opinion? And sometimes I am brutally honest. I tell students all the time, like, even after class is over, like after the semester ends and I'm not going to see certain students ever again, I tell them, keep my email address, and if you work on a project and you want my input, send it to me, and just beware, I am brutally honest. There was a student who, this past winter break, he worked on designing his own logo, and it was all right. He sent it to me, and he was like, hey man, like, what's your opinion on it? And I was like, look, like, I like the direction you're going, but it's pretty obvious to me that it's still like a rough version. And I just like laid it out. These are the things that I think you should at least look into and try to, you know, make it a little bit nicer, more professional looking. And I am sort of brutally honest. And whenever I sent the email back to him, I was like, man, maybe I was too much of an asshole or something. But no, I wasn't. I was honest. He asked for my opinion, so I gave it to him, you know? But like, if somebody didn't ask for that opinion, yeah, I'd probably bullshit him and be like, yeah, it was fucking great.
I mean, I try to build a lot of my life, or at least new relationships, around honesty, so that I don't have to deal with the problems later.
Yeah, let's segue into my tattoo on my hand. Because, yeah, it's all about being honest. So, yeah, for those of you guys who can't see, because you're listening to a podcast, I have a tattoo on my hand. It's very obvious. It's on my right hand, the hand that I, you know, every time I am introduced to somebody new, it's the hand I reach out to shake their hand with. And I did it on purpose. I put this tattoo in a specific spot, so whenever I do shake somebody's hand, they have to see it. And most of the time, people have no idea what it's from. It's from a movie, and it's kind of a funny story because I have never been religious. Never in my life did I ever think that there was a higher power, this almighty being, or anything like that. And the tattoo on my hand is from a movie, Boondock Saints, where it's two Catholic brothers who sort of become these, like, I don't know, sort of like community heroes because they're super poor, but they go around and they're like sort of taking care of these rich asshole like mob guys and this and that, right? And the two brothers both have similar tattoos. One of them says Veritas, which is Latin for truth, and the other one says Aquitus, which is Latin for justice. And like I said, that whole film is very religious. They're two Catholic brothers, and one of them has the word truth written on his hand. Surely that's about truth is, you know, your faith and this and that. And So one of my friends, he got into a lot of trouble, and before he did, he was my best friend growing up. I still talk to him sometimes, but he got into a lot of trouble. And so before all of that happened, he had just turned 18, and he wanted to get a tattoo. And so like we were both into film and this and that, and that was one of our favorite films growing up. It's a cult classic. If you guys haven't seen Boondock Saints, you should. And so he had the idea of getting a Quetis tattooed on him, and he got it tattooed on his chest. And I was like, "Are you sure you don't want to do it on your hand? Like that's kind of where it came from." And he was like, "No, man. Like I don't know. I just want to think about my future and this and that." And when he said that to me, I was just like, "All right, if I'm going to get that tattoo on me, I have to put it on my hand because I'm thinking about my future. And to me, my truth is the most important thing to me. And like being honest to myself and with other people is very important to me." And so I was like, I'm going to lay it out there right from the beginning. And there have been situations where I haven't been offered positions at companies because of the tattoo on my hand.
Yeah.
And what that did for me is it showed me that I made the right decision when I was 20 to get this tattoo, because had I started working with those companies, I would have been fucking miserable. I know without a doubt I would have hated it. And like they were both like pretty reputable production sound companies, and like I still would have been working with audio and this and that, but nonetheless, it's like if they were going to judge me and not hire me because of my appearance, I know it doesn't look professional, but I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Straight up, I don't. I'm being truthful and honest to myself. That's the most important thing I can do in life. If I'm lying to myself, trying to put on an act to make other people happy or to make other people think I am a certain way when I'm not, it's going to make me miserable. And like I said earlier, I have one life. I think it's short as hell. And to me, if I'm not happy, what's the point? And so, I don't know, I did it, and people have asked me, like, do you regret getting a tattoo on your hand? Fuck no, I don't, man. Like I said, it saved me multiple times from doing something that I would have been miserable at.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I think that's great, and I mean, there's obviously like countless stories that people have to tell of their tattoos, but
I don't. That's the only tattoo. I have a bunch of tattoos. That's the only tattoo that I really like have a meaningful story with. All of my other tattoos, it was like I said whenever I was younger, like if I'm interested in something, in a topic or like a specific piece of art or something, if I'm interested in it then, and I get it tattooed on my body, even if 10 years, 30 years down the road, I don't like it anymore, it still tells a part of my history. It tells a part of my life. And every time I see certain tattoos, I remember, like, where I was during that time. And, like, yeah, I'm not done getting tattoos. I'm going to get a tattoo soon on my neck. Like, I don't care. And if that causes other problems, even if the two schools that I teach at don't like it, like, if they don't want me to teach here because of the way I look, then that shows me that this isn't where I need to be.
Yeah.
And so it's, the tattoo on my neck is going to be very personal. It's going to be a tattoo for my daughter. And I've always reserved that space for if I had children. And so it's like, now I'm going to finally do it. And if people don't like it, I don't fucking care.
Yeah. Because it's you.
It is, man. Like, that's my whole point. That's my whole life mantra is I'm going to do me because it makes me happy, and as long as I'm not hurting other people, you shouldn't care. And if you do, you're a fucking asshole.
Yeah. Okay. Is there, instead of asking the advice question that I asked at the end of each podcast, is there something that you've been watching or listening to that you think other people should listen to or watch?
Man, so the thing that I've been watching the most is the news. And if there's one thing that I would recommend people get involved with, it is politics, not just on a national level, but on like state and local level as well. Because, like I feel like Donald Trump is the baby boomers' last sort of fuck you to us millennials, right? Like it's their last straw that they could pull to try and have it their way for any much longer. And like millennials are getting to a point where we're starting to get more involved, but we're still not as involved as baby boomers or Generation Y and shit. So yeah, I would just say try to be more involved with that shit, because if we aren't, then people who are getting super old and who probably, I'm not going to say that they shouldn't be involved, but it's not as, maybe certain topics maybe aren't as relevant to them as they should be, you know, like climate change and stuff like that, because they know shortly, maybe not shortly, but in the next 20 years or so, like a lot of them are going to pass away. And so it's like, it's not going to affect their lives drastically, but it will affect ours and our children's lives. So, you know, even though I work in film and stuff like that, I would say watch more fucking news, man. Like, just get more involved, because the way this last election went, it was just heartbreaking, and everybody was heartbroken about it, and I feel like everybody was heartbroken about it because they weren't involved enough, you know? And, like, I know that there are a lot of things put in place to sort of keep us from being involved, like, you know, using the Electoral College, or, like, voting on Tuesday, and, like, all of this shit, but, like, do what you can, try to be as educated as you can about it, and just be involved, know what's happening. Yeah, and like I said, not just nationally, not just locally, but internationally as well too, you know? Like, look at the shit that's happening in Aleppo. Look at the shit you were telling me about Venezuela. Like, there's all this crazy shit going on in the world, and just because it's not in your backyard doesn't mean it's not going to have an effect on us. And so there's one thing that I hope people spend more time with is less bullshit TV and more actual news. And what sucks is anymore the news is becoming bullshit TV. You know, we saw in the last couple of months how big of an impact fake news had on this election. And so it's, you know, it's not just up to us to watch Fox News or CNN or MSNBC or get on Facebook and read news, but like you gotta stay current with it, and you gotta put in a little bit of work to educate yourself. It's not just, you can't just watch one like media program and expect to know what's actually happening. You need to make that decision for yourself, and you need to read articles and be as involved as you possibly can be. And like, I'm not saying that you need to spend all of your time reading news articles and shit like that, but like, spend some time doing it, please. You know, like, be a little bit involved, like, care just a little bit, because it is directly affecting us now. Like, you know, I'm hopeful for our new president because that's the only option I have. It's like, I didn't vote for him. I wouldn't vote for him no matter what. I don't like that guy. I don't like his cabinet pick nominations. But nonetheless, it's like, you know, I used to get so pissed off with Republicans whenever they would talk about Barack Obama and this and that. I'm like, dude, he's still your commander-in-chief. You should still address him as Mr. President. Even if you don't like him, you need to show him respect. And because I felt that strongly about it with President Obama, I will give Donald Trump the same amount of respect. Maybe not the same amount of respect, but I will still give him respect for the position he holds. I hope that everything that he and his advocates want to have happen, I hope that it happens the way they want it, and I hope that it works out for us, because, you know, it is our country. I don't agree with it, and I don't see how certain things would work, and like, trickle-down economics doesn't make a fucking goddamn sense to me. But
it's not just to you, it just doesn't make sense.
It just doesn't. And so I would just say, just try to be more involved, man. And yeah, I try not to push my religious views or my political views on anybody, but I will be honest about shit. And like, when Donald Trump does things and says things that I don't agree with, I'll make it fucking known that I don't agree with him saying he can grab women by the pussy because he's famous. That's ridiculous, you know? And I won't agree with it, but I have to have respect for it, because apparently half of our nation thinks that he's a better candidate than Hillary Clinton. And I'm not saying that I was a huge Clinton advocate either. I have issues with the Clintons nonetheless. But I just be more involved.
Yeah.
That was a long little...
No, you're good.
So
perhaps more people need to hear that kind of stuff anyways.
yeah, I mean, it's not about my views being right or wrong, and like if you've got opposing views, being great, but be fucking educated about it. You know, like don't say that President Obama was a Muslim born in Kenya and the founder of ISIS. You're fucking stupid if you think that. Like, yeah, and like just because you're uneducated about it, it's for nothing more than that. If you were educated about that topic, you would know that's not true, and there's no way that would be true. Mm-hmm. And so if you want to argue for an opposing side, just bring some knowledge with you. You know, be educated about it.
Yeah. Awesome. And obviously, again, since it's a separate podcast, I have to. Where do we find your stuff?
Yeah, so if you guys want to get a hold of me, the easiest way would be through email at theaudiojanitor@gmail.com. Also, in the upcoming months, look out for theaudiojanitor.com. That'll be a website that should be happening pretty soon. You know, barring no like crazy illnesses or anything like that. It's already been started. It just needs to be finished at this point. So yeah, and then I'll be around ACM pretty regularly. I'll be around OCCC. So yeah, I'll be around.
Cool. Thanks. Thank you for doing this with me, and
thank you for inviting me, man. I've been looking forward to it. I have been. So.
And I'm Santiago Ramones. I make music, and you can find all the stuff that I do at santiagoramones.com, where you will find this podcast as well, which I always end with my 3 things, which are: love never fails, it's going to be okay, I might be wrong. Thanks for listening.